Dad told me the crazy wartime story. I took my dad to see a dentist about getting a tooth removed because the tooth was bothering him. While we were there, I casually brought up the fact that I almost never have to take him to see a doctor ever, and if he wants me to schedule more frequent health checkups for him. I even said I would take him myself. He then proceeded to tell me about a time during the Vietnam War when he was enlisted by the Americans as a Hmong guerrilla fighter to help combat the Viet Cong guerrilla fighters, and how they gave him injections that would prevent any known diseases or illnesses. Totally confused and bewildered by the casual mention of a super serum that somehow cures all illnesses, I proceeded to ask him what on earth he was talking about. He then went on to explain how his superior told him to do whatever the Americans asked him to do, and as someone born in a third world country with no education, he obliged and did whatever the Americans asked him to do. This involved quarantining him and his buddies to a tent where they were injected with an unknown substance that would cause massive pain. And I quote, "the worst pain I have ever felt in my life, once a day for 14 straight days." Instantly, I thought, my dad's just embellishing a story like he usually does. But while we waited in the waiting room, I started thinking about how I genuinely can't remember a time in my life I ever saw my dad sick or have a serious medical condition. Even during the COVID pandemic, when my whole family came down with a case of it, there were 6 of us present in the house, all eating in the same kitchen, using the same restroom, and sneezing into the same air. He was the only one who didn't catch a case. Of course, initially, I thought he was just trying to be strong for us because at least someone had to take care of us, but he genuinely just tested negative while we all tested positive. The only thing he suffered once that I can remember was 2 years ago. He suffered a very minor heart attack that we didn't know even happened until he had X-rays done and that discovered black spots in his body where there shouldn't be any. I went home and I started looking into it and could not find any merit to the story he told me. I asked him if he knew what kind of injections they were or if he remembers any of the officers' names, but he can't remember any of it, only that it happened. I'm not sure if this is the place to ask a question like this at the end of the story, but would anyone happen know anyone who may have gone through the same thing during the Vietnam War to confirm these tests actually happened?